Hi everyone, welcome to the Franchise Marketing Minute, part of the Franchising Matters video series. In these segments, we look to tackle complex marketing topics in 5 minutes or less. So without further ado, let's jump straight in. Today's topic is why you as a franchise organization should care about voice search. So let's start by describing what voice search is, so you know why you should care about it. Voice search is powered by AI and natural language processing to help machines understand how we talk. Whether you're using a smartphone, smartwatch, smart speaker, or even a car infotainment system, voice search listens to what you're asking, finds the answer from around the internet, and instantly gives you results. Now, depending on the medium that you're using, those results might come back to you in text format, like when you're searching on your smartphone, or it could come back to you as audio, like when you're searching on your smart speaker. Now, some of you might be thinking that this is still a niche behavior and this hasn't yet gone mainstream. And if you're thinking that, you are absolutely wrong. In fact, 90% of people believe that voice search is easier than searching online, which makes sense because a lot of people, when they're searching online, it's on your phone and you're using your thumbs. Voice, when you talk to your phone, obviously much easier. 65% of 25 to 49-year-olds speak to their voice-enabled devices at least once a day. Absolutely staggering stat. 74% of people use voice search on their smartphone to find information about local businesses at least once a week. So think about that for a minute. You as a franchise organization, you have all these local businesses around the country, around the world. People are using voice search once a week at least to find information about those businesses. That's a massive opportunity. And something that might be a bit of a surprise for you is that Capital One is forecasting that by 2030, that 30% of e-commerce revenue will be driven by voice search. That's massive. Almost a third of e-commerce revenue will be voice search based by 2030. This is already something that happens. People are buying using their voice on their smart speaker, but that is a huge growth curve, something that shouldn't be ignored. Something else that shouldn't be ignored is the fact that voice search is changing how search actually works. So those of you with some gray hair like me, you might remember back when we used to talk a lot about the long tail. That's because people typing on their keyboards, they would type long searches, really detailed searches, and we would call that the long tail. When search basically moved on to the phone and people were searching with their thumbs, long tail kind of disappeared. It's way too hard to type like this. But with voice search and someone speaking to their phone, the long tail is not only back, but I'm calling it the super long tail. So that's really important because those types of searches have a propensity to convert at a much higher rate. So if you look at the chart beside me here, a short tail search would be something like pizza near me. Huge volume, but because it's so non-specific, the odds of that person converting into a customer for you, actually quite low. But the more detailed the search gets, the lower the volume, and if you show up in those results, the more likely they are to buy from you. So as an example, which pizza places near me have great hand-tossed pizza with spicy tomato sauce? That is a really low volume search. But if you were to show up for that, you can be pretty confident that that person's going to buy from you. So as you start to think about that, your strategy shifts from ranking for a few high volume searches and instead ranking for a lot of long tail searches, because as people use their voice, this sort of long tail search is going to become more and more prevalent, which is a huge opportunity for companies who are structuring their website information to be able to rank for these types of searches. So speaking of ranking for those types of searches, here's a few tips. Number one, use conversational language in your content. So don't use complex terms, because when people are using voice search, they tend to use very simple language. So if you start writing your content to include simple language and conversational type of terms, you have a much better chance of ranking. And start to structure your content in a way where you can rank for these really long tail searches. So don't think about just those short searches. Create content in your Q&A, in your blog, in your services, and your products to try and rank for those more detailed searches. Second thing is to implement structured data. We covered this in quite a bit in one of our past marketing minutes. I encourage you to watch that one. Structured data is basically information around all of your content that helps the search engine crawl it and understand it, which is really important, again, for those longer tail searches. And you really want to prioritize local SEO. So as you saw a minute ago, 74% of people are using voice search once a week to find information about local businesses. That's a huge opportunity. So optimizing your website to rank for local search, absolutely critical to help you rank for voice search. We also did a marketing minute all about local search and how you optimize. That's all the time we have for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. As our free gift to you, there's a QR code right above me where you can scan that and get a free copy of our 2025 Trends Report, which includes a lot about voice search and a lot about some other trends. If you ever want to connect with me directly, I love talking about digital marketing. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. Have yourself a great day, and thank you for watching.